Good afternoon to all our viewers in North America, Europe, Romania, and anywhere in the world. And welcome at the new edition of the Feraru Conferences online, one of our permanent programs dealing with topics relevant on both sides of the Atlantic. My guest today is quite uncomfortable with praise and accolades, even though whether he likes it or not, he is one of the most recognizable names on the international art scene and one of the most successful Romanians in the United States. My guest rejects labels like artist or maestro, even though his work has defined the avant-garde theater in America, in Romania, in Europe for many decades. And he has been a mentor to cohorts of actors and directors. My guest is a searcher of truth, even if that may mean controversy. And he's a believer in authenticity, even if it may mean social alienation. But above all, my guest is a man who has managed to remain young because he believes that everything is still to be discovered and questioned. Andrei Șerban, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I would like to start with a question about about this shyness, I would say, to use the word artist, and you rather would you would consider himself a craftsman. Why is this dichotomy?
You know, in the 12th century, there was a wise man who said the following thing, which I like very much, says that we are like dwarfs living on the shoulders of giants. And that touched me especially because now in this moment in time when the so-called giants, the really great ones, are questioned by the cancel culture, and everybody who has authority of sorts is immediately suspicious. I find that for me to look up, to have somebody to look up to inspire me, to give me oxygen, in a moment like this one, when everything is kind of like dragging us down, like the energy is going down. But somebody who really is a remarkable man that lived in a different time or even in the present time, but it's certainly somebody who knows more than me, who is more sensitive than me, who understands better the essence of why we are alive. So I have to look up to him or her, which means for me, what I can do is to learn my craft. And I emphasize this question of the craft because so much now in our days, the young generation are kind of restless to get too fast to results, to get to be somebody, to earn money, to get fame, to be recognized. And before learning how to get there, so it says in America, to get to Carnegie Hall, one needs to practice, practice, practice. So for me, you know, I don't feel actually in my profession that I'm a creator. I'm an interpreter, a theater actor or a theater director. We interpret the great classics or the great writers of the past or of the present. So let's say it doesn't mean that we cannot eventually become to be artists too. Take the example of Dinu Lipati. Dinu Lipati was playing Bach and was playing Chopin. Well, is that an interpreter? Yes, but the quality, the class of that interpretation, I think it matches the art of the composer. So I could have the arrogance to say that Lipati is as good as Chopin because he reached that height. Well, for me, it's a long way ahead.
Well, I mean, even though you are rejecting these labels, other have not this don't have this problem, and would easily consider you a very important theater director. And I would start with the beginning.
Yes,
by going back to the New York of the 70s, to that passionate, fertile, artistically rewarding place. Tell us a bit about your beginnings here in the artistic milieu of New York, and why do you still consider New York as the best place in the world to be an artist?
Because New York, when I arrived here from communist Romania as a young man, was a place of great energy. And for the moment now, if you ask me how is New York today, it's pandemic. As everywhere else, there is no energy. Everything is a still, it's a stop, as if it's a kind of a lid put over the great energy of the city. But then it was extraordinary. It was so positive, so hopeful, so optimistic. So for me, coming from Romania, which was the filled with oppression, frustration, kind of like under censorship, grayness, suddenly to arrive in New York and to see that the whole horizon opens up, that everything is possible, that you have around you artists of all sorts, white, black, gay, straight, of any nation that can work together, that are open, that through art we can in a way communicate with each other. You have then, for example, I was working at La Mama, and next to La Mama rehearsal it was Andy Warhol with the factory. So to meet Andy Warhol, it was amazing for me. To meet Merce Cunningham, to meet John Cage, it was such a revelation that I couldn't, I was also lucky because not many young people at my age could be in such an extraordinary surrounding. So that's why New York for me remains the one place where is an opening, where is optimism, where is positivity, where nothing negative and kind of like an energy that brings you down is not possible. It's all uplifting. It's the best place to work. To work in New York, it's so inspiring. The streets of New York are so inspiring that you can really feel creative. I don't think I would love to live in New York if I don't have anything to do, because it's the energy can really crush you. It's too much. But to be here and to function here, it's real challenge and opportunity.
I can attest to that. I think we feel the same energy, and it's definitely a place that is uplifting. So you came as a young director with a couple of successes in Romania, but of course unknown here in the United States, and started to work at La Mama, and soon your career went up and you became very successful. How do you explain this success? Because as you know so well, there are so many people attracted by this energetic place, by the by the huge aura of New York in the arts, but they don't manage to cope, or they fail. You were successful, immensely successful, I would say. Why was that? Was it because you had the right artistic vision, because you had the right personality, the right mentors, pure luck? What was it?
A combination of all that. I mean, I didn't know. Later on, I found out that there is a saying: if you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. Yeah. So I didn't know that, and good that I didn't know, because maybe I would not have made it. but yeah, look, I mean, luck, a ton of luck. Really, I was very lucky. Anybody instead of me could have come here. Several of my friends, theater people from Romania, could have been instead of me, would have been maybe just as successful. I was lucky, simply so. But also, I must say that there was, the school in Romania, although it was communism, we were really learning. It was a great learning. Because the discipline, the rigor, the study, all that, when I came here, the young artists I was working with, they were very enthusiastic. They were taking any risks. They were ready to climb up the wall. They will do anything. I mean, the Americans are so childlike, so pioneer, so naive, that it's a joy. They will never ask a question, say, you tell me what to do, I'll do anything. But what they didn't have the discipline, the rigor, the technique, the craft. Again, the word craft, how to build an object that is crafty. And somehow I had that opportunity to, in a way, impose discipline on them. And what they gave me a sense of freedom, of improvisation, of anything goes, anything is possible. And I would say anything goes, not quite. Everything is possible, yes, but not anything goes.
You mentioned risk. What is risk? What is how do you see risk in theater and in artistic creativity in general?
Well, I've been considered someone who is not afraid of taking risks. And I took many risks in my life, and some of them were very good risks because I came to some discoveries, and some of them were unfortunate ones. And not everything was equally successful, but I was risking. And when I wasn't risking, when I was trying to play it safe, then, although it was at times well received or successful, I was never happy. I'm never happy to do things that I know beforehand how they will come out. I'm never happy to come to an opening night and not to discover anything new. So yes, risk for me, it's almost lawful for an artist. But in the same time, to be foolish, it's not good either, because pure foolishness or pure eccentricity for no other reason than to just show the world how unique and special you are is of no use. So how to take risk, how to be courageous in the same time, how to be cautious. So especially in the second part, in the later years of my life, well, maybe that's a sign of getting old, I don't know. But in the later years, I learned the benefit of cautiousness, of carefulness, of thinking before doing something, which doesn't mean that when I'm in the process, in the action, I should not just let everything free. I mean, I let the actors free improvise. I improvise with them madly. We go into situations which are kind of impossible, that are illogical, that are don't make sense sometimes. They're ridiculous even. They're idiotic sometimes. But doesn't matter, because from those mistakes one learns. But at the end of the day, if we don't sit down, all of us, and we say, okay, now we've been fooling around, but what in all that makes sense? What in all that will our audience understand? What will be transmitted in a way that it has substance, it has essence to this? So from there, this word, which is very dear to Peter Brook, which is my mentor, eliminate, eliminate, eliminate. Get rid of what is unnecessary. So from all that one day of rehearsal, maybe of 8 hours of work, maybe 1 minute or 1 minute and a half are to keep for the next day. All the rest to the garbage can.
This is quite a harsh discipline, I would say. You often speak about spiritual things, about detaching oneself from the mundane, about searching a superior living. Yet our society is one of pleasure and easy fulfillment. What role, if any, does pleasure play in your life and work?
Well, there are several questions here. So I start with pleasure, because in a pandemic where we are right now, we all seek pleasure. We have so little pleasure in our lives right now, sitting in front of a computer, talking to each other on Zoom, not reaching each other, not touching each other.
What a vista do you have in your back? I mean, you're with this beautiful sky, these beautiful trees.
I'm in the forest here, it's true. Yeah, benefits, but I don't see any human beings. I only see trees, which is sometimes a benefit. Anyway, but I mean, joke aside, no. We need pleasure, of course, but there are qualities of pleasure. Like, there is one pleasure to play backgammon. There is another pleasure to watch a soccer game, to be part of that crowd. It's a kind of a very kind of a coarse pleasure, unsubtle. And then there is the pleasure to be on top of a mountain, to watch from there, to watch the landscape, the perspective. And the fact that you are on top of the mountain gives you a very refined pleasure of a different sort. So it depends on the quality of pleasure. I think all my life I was seeking pleasure, but I was trying to find, like in my profession, theater in America is called entertainment. Even the word theater doesn't kind of fit. What does it mean, theater? But entertainment, everybody understands. So should one be against entertainment? Should one be against commercial theater and musicals on Broadway? No, not necessarily. It's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I'm not against it. I think that entertainment, it's always needed, but not only. But entertainment that has, like any Shakespeare play or any great play that has something underneath that is, like in India, how was the origin of theater in India? It seems that the priests and the religious people were finding that the religious books are so complex, are so difficult to be transmitted, to be understood, that they have to find a form that these very difficult sayings could reach the people. And so they invented theater. They invented theater to do it through dance and music, to find a kind of an easy way, a lighter way to transmit extremely difficult philosophical religious statements. So in that sense, I think that pleasure is a wonderful thing to look for.
Also because you are talking about these aspects of finding meaning to very, very difficult questions, you often say that we are surrounded by, and you are surrounded by mystery, that you have understood little from the life, even if you have searched forever, basically. That you, even though you have understood certain things, probably a great deal of life remains a riddle, remains a big mystery. What are the most what are the questions that you find most pressing, urgent, troubling even?
Well, it's very, very difficult to answer that, because almost every day when I go to sleep and when one doesn't know if one will wake up, one really doesn't know. Anything can happen. And then the fact that I wake up in the morning and I see that the sun comes up again, the sky is blue again, even that in itself is a mystery. And there I am. And what is my chance? What is my opportunity? What is my responsibility, if there is one, towards life, towards the fact that I happen to be here, that I happen to be, in a way, the result of these two parents meeting, and how much I owe them, to the fact that even my parents are, coming from other generations, and it goes hundreds and hundreds of years back, and somehow I have no connections to them, but I still should be thankful to them, the fact that I am here talking to you in this beautiful day of spring. I mean, all those are mysteries. Why sometimes when the clouds are heavy and I feel depressed and I feel lonely, and I forget that in a way the clouds are there to remind me that that's not all truth, that the sun is always there. It's just clouded, temporarily clouded. And somehow that we should learn to have inside of us the sun at all times, the way we have it now, by chance. So there are so many things which we should be wondering, and we should be kind of questioning, and we should be somehow feeling gratitude. And this sense of gratitude is what I forget every day. I'm talking to you now because you remind me of what is important. But after we finish this conversation, I go back to my usual occupations and I forget to be grateful to anything. I suddenly get angry. Something happens that makes me angry. I hear some news which are always horrible. This breaking news, this terrible word, breaking news, as it breaks your intimacy, it breaks through the windows of your apartment. It makes the whole house explode. This breaking news. So then immediately I fall on a kind of a level of life which to me is unintelligent, insensitive, filled with fears, filled with frustrations. And then I forget that that's not what I'm here for. I'm here for understanding this great present which was given to me to be here alive talking to you. And even in that, it's a mystery. Why do we have 2 hands? Why do we have 5 fingers? Simple questions. We'll never know, but maybe keep asking rather than being satisfied with a very mediocre answer.
And do you feel the same when working, when you are working at a play, and when working with your actors, when
Well,
teaching?
yes. I mean, when I was teaching at Columbia, I was always telling the students that, you know, and then they kind of thought it was a little bit cheesy to say this, that I said, well, I'm not really here to teach you as much as I want to learn from you. I want to learn with you and from you. And because whatever I can teach in half an hour. I mean, all I know, I can say in half an hour. What I know is not so complicated, what I know. So it's what I know, it's close to nothing really. But how what's the process? The process is what's important. In the process, we're all together and we're all discovering something together. So to me, this sense of again, I say this word nothingness, which is very dear to Shakespeare, that you know, we come out of nothing, and the fact that to realize my own nothingness, which in a way is not a put down on myself, but in a way, if I realize that somehow we are nothing in the scale of cosmic scale, and somehow if we realize that, then something is possible. If we think we are important, if we think we are somebody, it's good for the ego, it's good for the vanity, that pats my ego, caresses my vanity, but it's a lie, it's a complete lie, because it's totally untrue. But what I can do, or what I inspire others to do, is to go on this journey together of discovering something that will make us more sensitive and more intelligent. And in a way, we are candidates for art, candidates to become artists in that way.
Yes, I think it's a journey we all have to take. But
we all forget it. I say this now, but I forget it in 5 minutes. That's the problem.
I will keep repeating it.
Thank you.
That it keeps coming back.
Thank you. That's a good reminder. Thank
you. You seem to speak about the world sometimes in the most skeptical terms. You find this world, I gather, sometimes full of negativity, resentment, fury, and gloom. It's like a sort of eon coming to an end where the gods are either sleeping or are gone, where young people show sometimes lack of memory or respect to things that you believe are important. Why are you so disappointed in this world?
Well, I mean, it's a big word, disappointed. I'm not disappointed. I'm kind of amazed. I'm kind of looking and I'm amazed of what's going on. I think everybody's amazed. I'm not the only one. I mean, everybody knows we are living in the time of what the Indians called Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is a moment in the cosmos when the planets are changing, and somehow like we are going downhill. Everything is going towards the valley. So it's this Kali Yuga, and we have to accept that's where we are. Like everything is going towards a destruction, towards a cloud of darkness. So rather than being disappointed, I'm looking with a sense of wonder, not disappointment. But in the same time, you know, it's very hard to to come to terms with what's going to happen. Of course, some people think it's the end of the world, that somehow like after this, nothing will come. I don't believe so. I believe the world has gone through so many dark ages of all sorts, so many wars, so many plagues, so many pandemics, and it's always a kind of a salvation that comes from, I think comes from the will of God, from up there, or who knows. But we are going to come out of this. My problem personally in working right now professionally, it's difficult because although all my life I've been working with, as I said at the beginning, with people of all sorts, of all colors, of all sexual orientations. I never had any. I loved working, especially in America, with this kind of free types of all the world. But somehow, when what happened to me recently, and I was talking about this in another interview, when to an audition, a person, LGBT person, came into the room and decided to recite a monologue of Juliet from Shakespeare, and it was a person who was 35 years old. And of course, for me, that was a little bit too old to play a girl of 14. And I was asking, I said, why did you choose from all the monologues in the world, this one monologue of this young girl? He turned to me and he seemed a little bit upset and said, well, are you, you don't like my choice? I said, no, I'm not liking or not liking. I'm just asking. I'm curious to know why is that. And I said, but please, if that's the one you are prepared to do, please do it. Of course, he did the monologue. And then after that, I wasn't convinced. I wasn't convinced. Well, what happened was that
you are convinced as a director, right? It's
yes,
somebody who works with actors.
I wasn't convinced the way he acted this monologue. I didn't like his interpretation, and that was all. Now, what happened, because I said this publicly already in another television program, it went all over the world, this one statement, saying that Andrei Șerban is racist, he's reactionary, he's homophobic, he's sexist, all these damn things. Now, why? So that's what I'm saying. I have nothing against anybody except my own choice. I am responsible for my own choice. If I want to work on Romeo and Juliet, I would like to see a Juliet, which is a young, innocent girl of 17 or 18 or closer to 14, and that's all. I have nothing against anybody. But to a second, if you are not on our side, you are against us. So it's immediately this thing of like I was crucified for what? For just having my own artistic opinion about one simple thing. So this is an example of what's going on now with the cancel culture, which is a real pandemic going all over the world, everywhere, all over Europe is coming. As everything comes from America, everything starts in America and then it spreads. The good starts in America, spreads. The bad starts in America and it spreads. And that's, in a way, I think it's a problem, because unless we can work with a certain calmness, with a certain serenity, and without being afraid or suspicious that we are going to immediately be shot and executed, like the Bolshevik Revolution, for having our own opinions with a certain candor, with a certain innocence, then I don't know how we can go back and work when theaters will open again. And this applies to all aspects of art and all aspects of life.
Your generation proclaimed that everything was political. Today, everything we do, everything we see seem to be framed in political terms. have you ever adhered to this way of thinking? What do you find more abhorrent in political life?
Well, you see, I'm totally naive in politics. I don't understand politics. I never understood them because it was not my interest. I mean, you know, I'm a candidate for art. I'm not an artist, but I'm a craftsman, and I'm very much there with my tools and trying to get better at it every day. And you know, I don't know if I'll ever be good enough, but at least you know I'm working. But politicians are generally famous liars. I mean, to be a politician is to be a liar. No, you have no choice, because there you are, even somebody who has good intentions at the beginning. I really have a good intention. I go into campaign and I'm trying to get votes, and I'm trying to reach as many people as I can, and I make big promises. And I know that these promises are illusions, but I have to make them hoping that maybe I can even achieve them. Let's say that even that is, but somehow you get to be then in position of power, and you see it's impossible, and then you start to lie, and then you start to manipulate, and then your soul is corrupted, and that's the problem. You see, when we have this incredible favor to work in the field of art, is to work in the field where we can reach another plateau, a higher plateau, and somehow everything political brings us down again, is the negativity factor, rather than something which makes us look towards the sky. Because you know, we are of all beings, we humans are the only ones who can look up. We are the only ones, because you are the spine we have, and the fact that we can, all animals look down. And somehow it seems to me that the politicians look up in a fake way, that in fact they look down, and I don't want to be like them.
Theater disappeared for 1,000 years at the end of the Roman world, and then slowly, timidly re-emerged from medieval carnivals and mysteries. Do you think it can disappear again?
Yes, it's very possible, especially now that we see that we invent a Zoom theater, which some people are very excited about, this Zoom theater, which is in a way a new way of communication, but it's totally through technology. So it's yet again the soul, the heart of the person is not there, because I watch a play on Zoom and I like it. Let's say I like it. It's a good performance and so on, and I think about it, but I don't feel about it. And my heart is always cold, because the technology, it comes to me a second later than it's happening. And this second, it takes the tempo, the rhythm away. And therefore, I am always feeling left on my emotional side, hungry and empty. So maybe if in the future will be more and more technological, what I call real theater will disappear, will go back, will go underground. And maybe it's good to go underground from time to time, because when it comes out again, it will come out better and stronger. It will not disappear forever, but maybe for a short hibernation of 100 years, a few thousand years, I don't know. I hope not, but I don't know.
Of course. I mean, well, Zoom theater is only a way to keep the flame alive. I would say it's only something that we do because, you know, the theaters are closed, and I'm sure everybody's so eager to get back in the theaters. But staying on this matter, if theater disappeared again, why would we still mourn it? Why would we still regret it? What do you think?
Well, it's we 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 miss being together in a very special way. It's not the same being together when we go to a protest. To protest is being together, but that's not the same, because in the theater we're feeling something, audience and actors together, that we are feeling, let's say again, the presence of the muse. I believe in the muse, that the muse sometimes visits, and when the muse visits, then it's a kind of a blessing that we get. For a moment, we are all so disunited, we are so disbanded. It's so much fragmentation, it's so much hate, it's so much delusion. But somehow, in that 1 second in the theater, in one moment of silence, that we sense all together that our hearts are uplifted, and that uniqueness you cannot find anywhere. It's only there, you know. One can find it in love, sometimes, but 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 in the theater, any good performance could bring that sense of togetherness. And if you remember a little bit how it was to be in ancient Greece, in these big amphitheaters, and where 10,000 people, 15,000 people together, were with these actors who were very down there, far away, looking very small and so on, but somehow holding the flame of spirituality, and of addressing the stars and looking at the stars and saying, oh, here we are not alone, we are not alone. There is the cosmos that is in a way with us. Now, that feeling we will miss if theater goes underground, for sure. So let's hope it stays for a little longer.
But some say that we are living in a society that is hedonistic and consumeristic. But doesn't it consume art as it consumes any other thing? Don't you think that your art is devoured like anything else these days, like any other product? Don't you fear that?
Yes, of course. Of course, it is what it is. And I mean, my, you know, when I directed operas, when I do theaters, it's always, I'm reaching a certain plateau, which is, in my own expectation, it's a very low plateau of what I could do, or what I think my potential should allow me to do. And I'm not, that's what I'm saying, I'm continuously dissatisfied with myself, continuously. And is not to sound interesting in an interview to say this, but it's true, because somehow, you know, the power of art, the power of theater, the power of music, it's so extraordinary that what we reach is just so little. And yes, and that is immediately swallowed up by this tsunami called consumerism. It's a tsunami, and immediately it's all taken and is vulgarized. And it's and then of course I go back to my inner life, and I'm with myself, and I'm with my books, and I'm with my you know, my spiritual exercises of sorts. And then I see how much I need them for myself to really keep my head up, to really look up, because otherwise I'll be taken in by all this. And when I go back out and I try to create something, every time I'm trying to escape what you call the danger of consumerism, to escape that. And I'm reaching that sometimes, I'm not reaching that another times, but at least I keep trying. So some people say about me, well, you are at a very advanced age, and how come that you still have hope that you are going to find something that if you haven't found it for all this long life of yours? And I say, well, I don't think I'll ever find it, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't try.
You have been blessed with fabulous mentors, and you have been a fantastic mentor to many artists, and maybe not only artists, to people who are not in the arts or in the theater. What would you say would be the basic tenets of your pedagogy? What are the most important lessons you have always wanted to convey?
Well, I am very much against any pedagogy. I'm very much against any method. I think, you know, theater, that's my field. Theater is a mirror of life, Shakespeare said, no? So if theater is mirror of life, then may I ask about life? What is the method of life? What is the pedagogy of life? It's something which is like a carcass. It's just like it's a prison, which is called method, pedagogy. That doesn't mean that one should be doing tabula rasa or should be in total chaos. No, but you know, I come back to this question of Hamlet. When Hamlet asks Horatio, tells Horatio, not Horatio asks, says, Horatio, there is more. I don't, is a paraphrase. I don't have a good memory, but the thing is like, there is more substance than you find in your philosophy, which means there is more to it than you can find in any philosophy. So what I'm saying at all times to the students, what is important is the journey, not the destination. The journey, the experience, the staying in front of the question, because at any moment when we have an answer, when I say I know, the moment I say I know, I am dead. I feel that at that moment the process of discovery or of search dies, because I said I know. We are here to the moment when one little I know comes, another question mark comes. I know, yes, but this but, what I don't know is, and there is something else, and it's as if you are going on the ladder of Jacob, and they're going up, and then boom, you are falling all the way down, and again going 2-3 steps on ladder of Jacob, and boom, you are falling all the way down, and that's the process, and it has to be this way. And if I am with my actors, my students, or with my colleagues, and we are all kind of like not getting disappointed that we fall on our ass all the time, that we can always come back and face the sun again, then I think that's enough. That's all we can do.
I think we can do that too as well, because the sun is still shining in upstate New York. You know, you have this this fantastic wood and this forest, and nature is glorious again.
And my beer, which is water.
And this water with $14.99 on it. I'd like to thank you for this lesson in what would I say, a non-pedagogy of searching things, of staying young, of staying authentic, and slowly pushing away the mystery that that surrounds us. Andrei Șerban.
In order to find a new mystery.
That's right, and a mystery. I feel that this conversation could go on forever. There are so many questions that have remained unanswered, but I'd like to thank you for sharing this afternoon with us, for sharing these thoughts. And I wish you would be back in the rehearsal room as soon as possible when this pandemic is over.
Thank you.